leave it to the professionals.
Blessed by Gandhi, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like LeBron James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. The field's not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum NFTs. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I gotta shout out
Started
the
off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Breaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in suits. Yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. Had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So I had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the drive with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and C for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
The mute button got clicked. What do you know? I don't know how that happened. It's been no audio the entire time. Or did it just randomly click off on me? Settings are correct now. I believe we should be good. Check. Is audio back? Give me a thumbs up. I guess you can't thumbs up on YouTube or Abstract. Yep. Okay, so we're back on Abstract. Appreciate that. I got to do this whole thing again then, huh? Loud and clear. Sorry about that. My bad. Was I gone the entire time? Did any of the intro come in, or was it muted the entire intro song and my disclaimer? You hear me now? Well, I'm just going to do this real quick just to be safe. You all should know the deal by now. Never any financial advice to share. Crypto is risky, NFTs are risky, meme coins except risky. It all goes to zero to moments notice. Please don't put any money you can afford to lose unless you were longing the supermoon with me the other night. You should have shoved. You should have mortgaged the house. You should have closed it by now. I have not. I'm riding till the next supermoon apparently. So we just gotta stay like above 101, and we're good. We break 100K. I'm on the streets again. So back to the regular scheduled programming. I may or may not be joined by a co-host today. The probably have one tomorrow. But even if I am or am I not, the co-host may hold tokens we're going to talk about from time to time. I certainly will hold tokens we'll talk about from time to time. Not financial advisor. Don't join me for that. Just join us for some fun, some information, maybe a little bit of education along the way. Now that I got that out of the way, GM y'all, appreciate y'all over in the abstract chat. Muted completely. Again? Or were you talking about earlier? In? Or were you, man, I got YouTube yelling back at me? I can hear the YouTube audio. Okay, we're good now. As I say, I just checked. I'm coming through my own audio echoing on YouTube and abstract if I unmute it. So I think we're good. We're just going to jump into things. So I know I've said this a few times this week and maybe even last week that probably go to like 90-minute show, maybe less. I would say this to Steve's face. So this isn't a shot. It's just the brutal reality is I'm a little more succinct than Steve. And actually, kid you not, like the one piece of feedback I've ever gotten in my corporate career, executive at the big insurance company that acquired us, the one piece of feedback, like constructive feedback I've ever received, which is, now don't get me wrong. I got feedback from my mentor who owned a, family office that I merged my brand with and built with him for a few years. He was awesome. But the only real piece of constructive feedback I've ever gotten in my actual corporate career, like corporate America career, was it was suggested that I be more succinct in meetings, presentations. So that was I was getting to a point where I was, for all intents and purposes, I was checking out. It just wasn't fun, wasn't an environment I enjoyed working in. So probably a little bit of maybe me overcompensating for knowing that I had like one foot out the door and wasn't, if I'm keeping it really real, I was trading NFTs while I was sitting on a Zoom meeting, and then 55 minutes into an hour-long call, they'd come to me and I'd, fake it like I was actually paying attention. I was paying attention, don't take it wrong, but I wasn't like adding value like I normally have my entire adult life. So anyways, I digress. A little more succinct than Steve, except when I go on these rants, and not going to force a 2-hour show if we don't have things to discuss. Want to keep it, appreciate and respect all of your all's time. And we do have a special impromptu co-host, at least for the next 52 minutes, it looks like. GM Poppy, always a pleasure. Welcome, sir.
Good morning. Pumped to be here and happy to help you out.
I'm pumped you're back in the trenches.
Me too, bro.
Missed you, brother. I mean, I know life does its things. You got a family. You got to take care of priorities. You made a pretty big acquisition here recently, but it's good to hear your voice. And I like, I'm not just glazing you because you're on the stage. I genuinely appreciate how you go about not just building, but also just we're I think kind of, we sharpened our teeth similarly in terms of how like we were raised in a professional environment and around leaders that were mentors. And while different backgrounds, I think very similar in terms of our development and our training. And I appreciate your approach, your outlook, and just the way you move in the space. We need more poppies.
I appreciate that. And no, I don't, look, I know, and I think there's a big difference between edification and glaze. And I appreciate it. I think we got to give, the space, and human tendency, right, leans more towards negativity. I think it's okay to lean in when people are doing good things. That's honestly why I love what you guys do too. I think it's all about where we put our time, right? Because there's a lot of dead time in the space. You could sit on spaces all day long and just listen to jargon and senseless stuff. I'm happy to be back, man. I got, when the baby turned 1, things get real, right? And now that he's 2, he's kind of out the door early, and like right now, he's getting ready to bounce out to school. And
Don't use your he's probably gonna be driving in a year, right?
dude, that's what it feels like, bro. I mean, he's it's crazy to see how fast things happen. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, dude. I'll share this. I know everyone says this. I got told it my entire life, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. Everyone says it. I'm here to tell you, I've experienced it. Not only does time fly when you have kids, like I truly believe every year, the speed of time when you have children, at least I can speak to the first 18 years of their life, it goes exponentially faster. I'm not even joking. When I moved here, Florida, 5-6 years ago, my daughter was in middle school. She's now she's a full-blown adult. She's an 18-year-old senior. And in literally the last few years, like I feel the same age. I feel like basically the same age as when I got into NFTs. She's went from a child to a full-blown adult, and it seems like it happened overnight. It happened faster than some NFT collections rug. In all seriousness, you made me think of something in you mentioned there. I just want to tug on a string. Well, first of all, I have 2 things. One, you said the word edification. True story. Do you know when the first time I even became aware of the word edification? It's probably, I'm queuing it up here, so you probably know the answer, have an idea where I'm going with this, but any guesses, Puppy?
I actually don't know. It's probably 20 years ago.
Probably a little more than 20 years ago. Yeah. Cause it was when I was in college and I got in direct sales. I basically had a chance to work with a few individuals who were very, like 6-figure money earners their first year, 7-figure money earners, like the people you read about in like magazines or you see in videos that have crushed it in the direct sales / network marketing arena. And like, I lived with one of those guys for a while. And while I didn't crush it financially in that world, I actually probably made, no joke, like less than 10 cents an hour. If you've been around coffee for a while, you've probably heard me tell the story. Like I cold called every single student in the Ohio State student directory, which was like 62,000 cold calls at the time. That resulted in a grand total of 3 sales. So I was 3 for 62,000. Probably the greatest thing I ever did because it taught me to embrace no's. At the same time, I was selling cell phones, and my buddy and I, we were part-time. He went on to be some big Verizon executive. The 2 of us, we were the only part-time sales reps in the entire region. Everyone else was full-time. We were in college. We'd work like 3 days a week, and we outsold everyone. We were number 1, number 2 every month. The whole reason being is we had a game. We would race to 100 no's every shift. So we were selling phones in Sam's Club back in the day when people weren't going to Sam's Club to buy phones. They were going to buy 10-pound buckets of ketchup. And so we would like politely harass people down the aisle until we got 100 no's, knowing that math showed us that if we got 100 no's in a shift, we would sell on average 5 phones. And we just did that every day. And it changed who I am. It taught me to embrace no's, and no's just means not now, or it's one step close, all the cheesy stuff you hear. But at that same time, I also was being mentored by some people who were extremely successful in building very large sales teams. And they turned me on to not just edification, but success principles. So my whole long-winded rant here, as I said, I can be succinct, and now I'm not being succinct, is while I worked very, very, very hard while I was in college, I got a second apartment in Cleveland. I was still in school in Columbus and was working literally 6-7 days a week, every day from sunup till 1 a.m. And I loved it. And I made basically no money. The first time I did that, when I say like I work full-time, I was literally working 80 to 100 hours a week. And that first year I made 12 grand. I'm gonna say it again. I worked 80 to 100 hours a week, and I made $12,000 in the entire year. And it was probably the biggest year of personal development I've ever had in my life. And so I say all that I talk about how you move, and you mentioned the word edification. It's like, that's just one of the little nuggets, like even learning what edification is. Edification, like the kids today, we talk about like glazing, and yeah, you can go too far with it. You can be cheesy, you can be over the top. But the reality is edification matters. Reality is the reason we get a larger audience when we bring on a special guest, we bring on an expert, is all of you. If we're talking about something like, let's say Zcash, our audience, you would much rather hear from the founder of Zcash or someone who's been in the Zcash trenches for 3 years than myself. So instead of me being like, oh, listen to all the great things I have to tell you all today, come listen to me, I'm so smart. No, we're not gonna like come listen to Bob, who is the world-renowned expert on Zcash. And you, the edification is essentially building up someone else, talking highly about someone else that's not your own self. And this is just little nuggets that you maybe like. This is where, like I said, why I enjoy you being around is you, even one word like edification, you trigger some memories and reminds me of some things that I know how to be a better speaker. I know how to be a better leader. And yet it's like showering, like some of this stuff, you just need constant reminders because we're human. We'll forget stuff, right?
Yeah, 100%. And it is true. Like I think, by the way, our stories are fairly similar. And like you, like that world has been a part of my life and is now beyond. But there's a lot of stuff you take from it, and that's it reminded me of this story a couple. I guess it was like a month ago. There was a founder who was struggling with, I guess, the balance of the space and just trying to figure out like how to stay calm and try to stay calm in the midst of this, like, Web3, crypto Twitter, NFT Twitter. It's like a 12-lane highway with no traffic light, so you have to really learn how to play professional Frogger 24/7 as a founder builder, because there's just so much, right? You're dealing with the noisiness, the shiny object, holders, questions, expectations. If you've allowed expectations to exceed your expectations, there's that flip, that imbalance, right, where the holders expect more than what the founders are building. And so anyway, he just hit me up and he's like, dude, how do you do it? Like, how are you staying calm? I can't believe you bought a project this late. Like, why would you do that? And I'm like, look, bro, and he actually asked me, like, what do you recommend? And I said, look, there's a book. I think there's a few books. I'm not a big reader, but there was a few books that actually like drastically changed the way that I think, work, react, don't react. One of them was Emotional Intelligence 2.0, and I love the outline because there's real practical structure in it. It's not just like reading from chapter to chapter, but it's like structure to structure. And he immediately ordered it, got it the next day, started reading it. Impact. And that the same like personal development stuff that you went through, I went through, and it's priceless, man. It helps when you don't even realize you need it, right? You're just kind of going through the motions and like, hey, I remember these little corny philosophies or something, like the same wind blows on us all. So it's about the way you set up your sail and not the way you react or what's happening to you, but more about what you do with it. So yeah, I mean, look, I love that stuff, and I'm again, Cap, just going back to it, bro. I'm happy to be here. I've set up coffee now in my daily schedule. I have gotten super organized because I look at Corky's as a startup, even though it's an established, 3.5-year-old veteran. It's a startup because when I purchased it, I didn't purchase the treasury. I didn't purchase, I purchased the IP and the brand. So I am in the startup mode, which I love. I'm bootstrapping and rocking and we're building. But that's a lot. It's a lot of calls. It's a lot of grind. You can't take that I don't take it for granted. I'm not here to just do like the minimum. I'm actually really trying to build something significant. So I'm like up early, super organized. I'm still consulting a few other clients, and my wife and I own another business that I get pulled onto several calls a day. So I'm in full grind mode. I've been working like 12 hours a day, almost like 8 to 8. Most days I'll get like a 2-hour gap with my son when he gets home from school. So anyway, I'm pumped to be here. I actually love these types of markets where we're not in a full bull, right? Where we're in this like kind of choppy market. I think you learn a lot here. I remember Cap going back to the bear when me, you and Steve, I was on almost every day with you guys, Joey and a few others. And I think that's kind of when I don't want to say we discovered, but I just remember this period of time where I think the space was evolving. We were all kind of evolving, and it turned into more like that's when Made by Apes was born in that era. And a lot of projects actually started to show up and build and focus on content and create like a real business. Like that's, Doodle started posting again. There was just all this stuff that happened. And there was a lot of stuff that melted down, but
It's so weird. Like, if I can interject real quick, because it's
go
so,
ahead,
like,
please.
hearing you say that, like, I think back, I vividly remember it was kind of like maybe not been like the very beginning, but like that Miami Art Basel. I think that was the first time we met in person, right?
Yeah, Basil. But it was probably the first couple months before that.
And that was like Basel of 23. I mean, it was. I remember a Basel being like, it felt like the depths of the bear. Is my memory?
Yeah, it wasn't last year because last year was Pengu Basil. Dude,
Yep.
What talk about time flying? Pengu is 1 year old. Take that in. 1 year old. Take that in. That's crazy. Pretty much 11 months. Anyway, yeah, it was the Basel before that. So almost 2 years. Wow. Yeah, almost 2 years ago.
So 2 years ago, depths of the bear. I'm going to keep it real. I felt better about the state of the market then than I do now. And I can't explain that. Like, it doesn't make any logical sense. The sentiment then, though, was, and it felt like, even though it was the depths of the bear, it felt like there was more active participants then than there is today. Am I way off, or did we really like nuke a lot of people in this space during the meme mania?
I stayed quiet because I was vastly outnumbered. But I felt that there were way too many gambling metas, and because people beg for altcoin season or meme coin season, and then there's, I think, the other thing too that exhausted the market. So yes, finish that thought. 100%. I think that. Well, actually, I don't think. I know. I know a ton of people. There's actually some pretty big, like, quirky holders that shifted their bags. Like, hey, I'm selling, but don't worry. I'm gonna go flip memes for a little while. I'll be back. I'm gonna sweep big. Da da da. And they're like literally out of the space, lost everything. And there's a few of the pretty bigger guys in that category, but even some of the one quirky, two quirky holders, and this is just how I gauge it. This isn't a show. I'm just like, for everyone else in the audience, this is just how I gauge it. Like, hey, I'm selling my one. I'm gonna go. There's this meme coin I'm gonna play, and I'll be back. And 99% of the time, they don't come back. And if they do, it's because they're just exhausted. They loaded some fresh ETH. They're like, I should have never done it. I just want my quirky, and that's it. So I do know for a fact that look, some people made money, but it definitely was exhausting. You also got to think, Cap, people who were idolized, and whether idolization is okay or not is a whole separate topic, but like we call them KOLs or influencers. Dude, the apocalypse of KOLs was real. Like, there are so many people that used to have a serious stage in this space that just completely destroyed it during the last 18 months. That probably plays a role. I think it was for the better in most cases. Trust me. I think you probably do too, because a lot of grift got washed out to sea. But that plays a role, man. And I think last but not least, there's so many, like, the protocol disappointment, I'll call it, that also hurt the market, because you have all these new protocols, all these new chains that have launched, and people go to farm them or to build on them, and they think that they're going to make this massive airdrop or this massive amount of money, and they don't, and that's exhausting. Like, I have a few friends who shifted most of their energy to go farm such and such or build on such and such, and got nothing to show for it and have pretty much left the space. So I think that all that stuff just kind of would, it hurt. But I'm very optimistic in the same breath, and I'll leave it at that. For at least for now, I personally think that we're entering a chapter that is much better for certain projects that are positioned in a certain way. I actually do. I feel really good to be honest.
I feel really good long term too. I feel really good about the people who've been here. My GM post this morning, I'll pull it up here in a second. I think it kind of summarizes what our space in some level, and like kind of where we're at least many people is. So there has been a lot of people, especially the builders. I can't try to put my head in the founders or the team leads that have taken over projects that have been building, that have been shipping and doing things consistently, and whether they found product market fit from a revenue generation standpoint or not. There's a lot of teams that have done a lot of good, that have done what they've said they're going to do and then some, and market's simply not responding. Price goes down, and
agreed.
There's just sometimes you can't. We will get into the headline here in a second. If you missed it, Luca basically mentioned abstract TG is going to be delayed. I think it's a good decision.
Agreed.
We'll hit on that here soon. But and excited to welcome Melania to the stage. Always a pleasure. It's a longtime fan. About every day, I think Girl in the Verse is in here from the gym.
She's one of the best.
And I don't know if we got.
Oh, guys,
do we?
Thank you so much.
Do we have you live from the gym?
I do come in the show every day.
Are you live from the gym today?
Yeah.
Or did we catch? Are you live from the gym today, or did we catch one a day off?
Well, that's it. No, today is I'm so tired, guys. Canada, it's already so gray. So I actually took a day to rest. So I decided to come up. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I usually am at the gym when Cap and Steve do the show, but it's the best time for me to get in all my news while I'm at the gym. So that's the alpha, guys. You can do that. Look, I wanted to come up because I have been saying this for the last couple of months. I've been telling a lot of people in the space, a lot of builders, be prepared to see. I feel like this part of the cycle, we're going to start noticing people leaving the space, whether it's going to be loud or quietly. I noticed that back in 21. A lot of the people I was working with, a lot of the people I have pictures with, Poppy, at Art Basel, you're talking about time. Some people are just not here anymore, right? So that's why I wanted to come up, because I feel like, and it's okay that people leave. I'm hearing your story about people that, they had to sell their NFT, they wanted to go do a bigger game and whatnot. I'm always like, if that's how people want to work their way in this space, I commend anyone who takes profits and wants to go do their own thing. I'm happy for that. I'm also a little jealous sometimes that people leave the space and don't come back, because I can't do that. I feel like now I'm here, I'm working with so many incredible people, and from being a content creator, but now I'm actually advising on people on how to build community and how to create content. I just feel like I've been able to shift a little for the things I truly love doing, right? So sometimes, I'm a little jealous that people leave because I'm still here. A lot of the times, Cap, I'm like, is it because we didn't make that 100x? I'm not sure. I just don't know. But it's weird for me because I can't leave this space. And as much as I'm in Canada and I'm always like, I don't want to be here, I am also looking for a way out, because at the end of the day, I almost feel like you can't unsee what you see now when it comes to politics, when it comes to the way, I am so bullish on this MetaMask metal card that I have in Canada. You guys have no idea. I cannot get the Gemini card. I may be able to get that Coinbase one, but the fact that I can start using some of this crypto and start showing the government, right? Because this is a big deal, showing the government that I get paid, and now I can use this to pay for groceries and gas and things of that nature. So for me, in the last 5 years, I've just seen bigger wins for myself as a creator, as someone who wants to get monetized in this space, USD, Solana, whatever that is. and to be able to then go out there and pay stuff for me is a big deal. I don't think we even had this option 5 years ago. So I feel like we are in a better direction. I'm not going to lie, I thought that with regulation, we would see retail here more. I don't see them. I just recently got banned on TikTok as well. I'm not sure about that whole YouTube thing coming our way for crypto and people who create content.
So it was just a this is it wasn't even just a suspension. You're just straight up banned. The account's gone on TikTok because you were talking crypto.
I have no clue. So it started with banned. Yesterday I got this rando email that says it's because I had a VPN on, which also doesn't make sense. And now when I try to log in, I'm suspended. So if anyone knows anyone at TikTok, and it's weird because, so this is what I'll say. When everyone was buying gold, like a couple of weeks ago, think about that, like maybe a month ago now, I was doing daily content about why people are buying gold versus why I'm buying Bitcoin. Okay, that's what I was doing, like just shit posting on TikTok and then mentioning XRP sometimes, right, just to get the views and whatever. And then I got banned. So I'm not sure if it's because I was talking about gold, if it's because I mentioned the word I'm buying Bitcoin. I'm not clear. And what I don't like about this suspension is that my entire account, like I cannot log in. It's not like when Meta just blocks one video or like when YouTube will ban one video. It's my entire account that was actually growing really well. So I can't tell what that's about, if anyone knows anyone. But it's weird because retail's coming in, right? We see the Trump family, everyone's like buying and accepting of crypto. But then I'm noticing that on socials, when it comes to retail, they're still not interested. So anyway,
I think that's a really good point. I just want to jump in on that because I have consulted a few crypto startups the last few years. Though I mainly focus on NFTs, I was asked to be a part of Solum, which is a stable coin, and they wanted to do like a gold integration with the stable coin. It was pretty cool. They're shifting now more towards doing medical record settlement, which I actually think is a really good idea. Just helping like private doctors or surgeons get their insurance payments faster. There's a need for that. That space is tough. Anyway, they're still having. I just got an update because I'm an investor as well, and I just got an update 2 days ago, and I mean a lot of people are having the same issue. Like for more retail to come, we need more product for retail. We could argue that like nothing being built, at least in like meme coins, NFTs, is really for retail outside of what Yuga's doing with the other side. I think that's a product that could attract retail. And I think, Pudgy has done some stuff to at least get into the retail side of socials. So has Chimpers, but we're not necessarily in our space, our niche in the niche. We're in a niche of a niche. We're not really building products for retail yet. So it's going to have to happen in, DeFi or, smart uses of blockchain. And the point is, there's still a lot of issues at the very highest level with banking, with even what you're saying. Think about it. I've been collecting or holding some sort of crypto since 2015. And like, we are just now getting debit card options. We're just like, yes, we've had them like crypto.com. There were some other ones, but it hasn't really been great for everybody across the board. And we're just like, some of these bigger projects are still getting turned down. The banks don't want to deal with crypto. There's still a much broader issue, even though, the Trump family has adopted. There's also been, money in, money out. There's been some questions about how they've entered, what they've done. So I feel good, but it still feels in some ways like we're very early with some of the overall, like I'll call it, I don't want to call it infrastructure, like the macro structure of crypto. It's like we can Zelle between banks, but crypto is still like kind of looked at as the stepchild of finance.
So I agree. I think that is probably the most important thing. And I think we're getting there now, to your point of the cards and the tech and, the stablecoin adoption. And the ability to move funds, the freedom to transact, like very real. The ability to acquire assets that aren't experiencing hyperinflation. I had dinner tonight with someone moved here from Venezuela 4 years ago. Like, can you imagine? Like, we sit in a very, all of us here, we sit in a very privileged position to where, you know, we can joke about, not even joke, like, oh my goodness, my eggs cost twice as much as they did a year ago, or whatever, you know, whatever the, like, imagine that being not twice as much, but 300 times as much, I mean, based in your base currency. I just, like, all this is important. But when you talk about like retail coming here, I don't know if retail ever comes here because of that stuff. Like, they'll use it, but just me being able to transact more freely and be able to acquire assets that aren't experiencing hyperinflation more easily, like, that's important. But they're just going to use the thing. They're not going to come here and be an active.
Oh, I agree. I just meant come to crypto. Coming to us, that's a whole different.
And that's kind of where I'm like, I don't know what that next catalyst is. You mentioned other side, and I think gaming still, to me, I struggle to see a future where gaming doesn't come on chain across the board. Or even the the big boys, everyone. It's better. And I also think that even there though, I don't know if that brings more active participants per se. I really did think, I mean, I thought, it's on record, I was wrong, but I thought 2025, I thought AI agents would be to crypto as NFTs were in 2021. Very, very wrong. Like, just didn't play out that way. Now, is blockchain tech and is crypto critical to the future of AI agents? Yes. Maybe we got a new wave, a smaller cohort of builders that saw that, and they came over from AI to start building on chain, but the users didn't follow. And I just don't know what that's going to be. I don't know what next wave might bring in active participants, the people who are going to tune into spaces, and we'll meet at Art Basel. And I, like, you share that, like, as I reflect, it's kind of sad. Like, there were some friends that I'd still consider friends. Like, if they reached out, I'd help them if I could, if they needed, if they were in a time of need or something, or they were in the area and they wanted to grab a coffee or dinner, but they literally just disappeared. Like, not only off of, maybe it's just they're out of my algo, but a lot of people just aren't even on Twitter anymore. Jambert says his first and last Basel was 2023. Does think there's less people in the space, and agree that a lot of KOLs have went silent. I think the space is getting more close together. That is a perk. And that's where I said, like, part of that beauty of that, the depths of the bear was, you really did know who was showing up. It was very easy to identify who was here for, dare I say, like, the right reasons, and who was really here to build real relationships, not just transactional. I had this pulled up earlier. I'll flash up once again, and then we'll get Joey in here for his thoughts on this. Just GM post this morning. The future belongs to consistent, not the talented, not the lucky, but the one who shows up even when it's hard. Show up, effort never betrays. I agree with like 75% of that. I do agree talent matters. I do agree luck matters. It just, you can't control luck. You just got to keep swinging the bat. But I do believe you hone your talent by showing up, your effort, like your talent improves. I just, like, times like this where it's like uncertain as far as our super niche corner of the internet, super niche corner of crypto even. I do think it's like, you know who the real ones are. You know who's here because the people, they believe in the what we're building. And yeah, maybe there is this, we are just early. Maybe not. Maybe it's just the Pico top of crypto Twitter and the people of this space. Maybe we've already topped and it's just down only from here. I have a hard time believing that be the case. I just don't know what it will take that's fun, that's not just payments or stable coins, that's going to bring new active participants. I'll just say it. People who could be like our new cohort of friends, right? A lot of us have friends from the class of 21. I'm sure there's some of us that made friends from 21 to 24. I'm not just saying this to say this. I don't know if I've made quite literally hundreds of new friends in this space, which is a middle-aged adult. That's very hard to do. I'm 45. Like, people just don't go around making hundreds of new friends at this stage in their life. Very grateful for that. The reality is, I don't know if I've met a single new friend that I've made that is new to the space this year. I've made some new connections, people that have been around. We just, our paths have never crossed for a reason. But I don't know if I've met a single person like, oh yeah, I got into crypto in 2025. Am I alone in that?
Yeah, it's not happening too often. I have a couple good thoughts. Is Joey up? Because I try to bring him up. It looked like he was up, down. It shows him as listener.
Yeah, he's showing speaker on my end.
Joey's hand was up, so Joey, jump in, and then I'll piggyback some thoughts after because I do have a few.
Joey,
Yeah, so I'm actually going to take the GM guys. I'm actually going to take the opposite side of what Poppy was saying, which is I think there are people building for retail. It's just not the PFP communities. And I think there are, and then the merger, the not merger maybe, but like the bridge is happening. I mean, we had Stripe acquire Privy. We've had Stripe acquire Bridge. We've had like all these acquisitions of Web2 companies acquiring Web3 companies for this exact reason. Not to mention, and you mentioned Zelle as an example, Poppy. I can Venmo crypto to people. That's a Web2 app that was created for people to send money that you can now just Venmo crypto to one another. My dad has Robinhood. He sends me crypto from Robinhood directly into my Web3 wallet. So like, I think it's just not sexy to talk about. That's the thing, right? Like it's happening, and it's happening a lot faster than we think it is. It just doesn't dominate our little, our crypto Twitter timeline because it's not sexy to talk about. So I kind of am on the other side here, right? Like I think people are building for retail, and I'm not here to shill Beezy, but we're building for retail. You can pay on Beezy with Apple Pay. You can pay on Beezy with credit cards, right? And there are a lot of other people in this space that are doing very, very similar things by leveraging technology from Privy, from Crossmint, and those companies are being acquired by the big Web2 brands to continue to bridge the gap between Web2 and Web3. Like I said yesterday on the show, I literally opened up a Venmo credit card, not because I need one. I have no need for a Venmo credit card, but I had to pay for something, and the person only accepted payment in the form of like Venmo or Zelle or whatever. And I wanted to use a credit card because I wanted points. And Venmo said that if I open up a Venmo credit card, my cashback rewards can be taken in the form of Bitcoin. And I was like, well, screw it. Instead of using cash through Venmo, I'll open up a Venmo credit card, and then all my cashback rewards will come to me in Bitcoin. So I think it is happening. I think it's happening faster than we think. Just it's not sexy to talk about, right? Like people on the timeline want to talk about TGEs and FUD this project and what's the floor price here. And so, and again, the stuff that is being built just isn't exciting to talk about like it is when it comes to PFP projects.
Yeah, and I think hearing you say that, like, so maybe, just maybe, not only is it not sexy, to your point, like the tech is being hidden, the tech is being obfuscated now. And I'm kind of reaching here. But that's a good thing. It's definitely going to help onboard retail, but it's like it'll get retail to use these products because they just work. But if someone just uses a Venmo credit card, debit card, and they get a little bit of Bitcoin back, or if someone, is at a card show and they see a Beezy booth and they love digital claw machines and they go play the claw machine with their credit card and it just works and they start collecting RWAs on Beezy, there's a world where they never make it here because even though Beezy's on chain, it's not
But they are here though, right? When they sign up for Beezy,
yes or no.
Or like Other Side, right? Other Side is powered by Privy too, right? When they sign up with an email address, they're getting a wallet created for them.
Yeah, I get
to
that.
be able to.
I know it's a new wallet. I don't know if they're a new active participant in the greater crypto space. I think it's because the tech has gotten so good even the other side example. Like there's a world where someone finds they got a glyph wallet at ComplexCon, and there's a other side does a email blast in 6 months, and someone finds a really cool game and they start playing other side with their email address. They may never leave. Like they may just like that's just a game they play, and it may not ever know it's on chain. Same with BZ. Like there's a world where a consumer finds BZ, they love BZ, but they don't even realize it's on chain. Or even if they do, they're like, oh, I can go. It's just like there's sports betting sites.
But why do they need to though? Right. So that's my question. Right?
Yeah,
so
that's what I think.
need-
I think there's just two. Sorry, Joey. I just want to say this. I think there's actually just two conversations going on at the same time, which is a good thing. I think, first off, I think more and more people are using blockchain every single day. That's for sure. And I can't argue that, Joey. You made a lot of good points. And yeah, well, like stuff similar to what you guys are building at BZ, including BZ, are very good progressions of blockchain that do onboard people to crypto technology. I think what Cap and I were more leaning towards was actually getting them involved in the community of crypto Twitter, NFT Twitter. And I have some thoughts about maybe what turns people away. But there, I wanted to highlight that I think we're having, in terms of onboarding, two separate combos.
But we are onboarding them to a community though, right? Like BZ is a Web3 blockchain community, right? So if we onboard them via these easier, like where they don't even know they're using blockchain, and we're like, hey, come to the Discord and hang out and talk about collecting, right? They're being onboarded, right? So now, I just think that, and I had this conversation, and I made this comment to Steve in the war room yesterday when he said, I think, blockchains will create community or whatever. I can't remember the exact quote from him. And I countered with that, and I said, I disagree, because I think in the future, and I've said this before in the show, blockchain is going to be like the internet. Do you, like when you come to my house and you ask for my Wi-Fi password, do you ask if it's Xfinity, if it's Verizon, if it's AT&T? No, you don't care. You just care that it works. So there's going to be, and it's starting to happen now, again, with Other Side, where you don't, like, if you go to Other Side and you sign in with your email, right, you have no idea what blockchain it's on. You don't care. You just care that the game works, right? So I don't think we need to necessarily, like, worry about onboarding them to crypto Twitter or educating them on the different types of layer twos and gas and all that stuff. Because, for example, at BZ, we sponsor all gas, right? So they don't pay gas. They don't even know that there is a thing called gas. And I think that's the future that we're moving towards. Again, by seeing these big companies like Privy get acquired by somebody like Stripe, they know that the way to get people on the blockchain and using this amazing technology is simply so they just don't know, right? It just exists. Now, when we're talking about like building community, you have to, it's hard, right? Like building the BZ community is difficult, but we don't build it based on like, hey, come hang out at BZ because we're a blockchain company. You should learn about blockchain. We build it because we say, hey, come hang out in the BZ Discord so you can talk about collectibles, talk about what's coming out, whatever, right? Like stay up to date on news. And eventually, my guess is, and Melina can answer this because she's someone who's big into the education of like this stuff is, eventually people will start to ask questions. And when they start to ask questions, you can then explain to them, hey, like we're actually a blockchain company. We're built on Flow, right? Like everything is transparent, the odds, etc. Right. And because people will naturally start to inquire, but I don't think it needs to be so in your face like it used to be in 2021.
Did Joey grow up all of a sudden? Like, who was talking?
I think he did.
Joey, look, I agree. I was going to say, I think it's a good take. It's a really good take, and it's a good outlook. And I wasn't, look, I'm personally just not being negative about the space, just maybe being critical. I think what you guys are building is really good, and more people should be building that way. I also think that in some cases, like hiding blockchain technology is some people are trying to do that intentionally. I don't know if that's necessary, but the big word there is education. I actually didn't know Venmo had integrated with PayPal and is doing crypto. It's funny. I use Venmo for like fantasy football, and that's pretty much it. So,
Dude, open up a Venmo credit card, and every
Yeah.
time you Venmo somebody, you can get cash back in the form of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and I think there's a fourth one. And then you just pay off your Venmo credit card every month as if you were paying like cash anyway.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. The user interface is good. They have a Litecoin, Chainlink, Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Bitcoin Cash. So I mean that's really good because Cash App. I've been using Cash App to buy if I need like quick 500 to 1,000 in Bitcoin or crypto. I'll just buy it on Cash App and swap. But they've only had Bitcoin, and they've had it for like 5, 6, 7 years. I don't know. Cash App has had Bitcoin for a long time, but it's literally only Bitcoin. So I do think that these integrations are good. I still think that we are, not where we need to be in terms of everyone being able to use crypto. We still don't see like crypto point of sale at your average places. We still don't, and maybe we don't need that. Maybe the crypto debit cards, stuff like that. Maybe that's better for people. But I still know that there's tons of people who have crypto in wallets that they want to use to transact. And so I always thought if we could have crypto POS systems, that's a really good thing.
Bobby, that's coming. There are like
Oh,
there
I'm
are
sure
gas
everything's
stations right
coming.
now.
I agree.
Yeah, there are gas stations right now where you can like literally just tap to pay with your crypto, and it's happening.
I just saw,
it's just not, I mean, we got to remember, like, think about those of us that are in our like late 30s, early 40s. Like, think about how long it took for us to see like ATMs on every corner, right? Think about how long it took for people to stop using handwritten checks and start using debit cards. Now, technology advances way faster today than it did in like the 90s and early 2000s. But we're like light years ahead of how fast technology was being adopted back when we were younger, and our parents were, again, still writing paper checks, right? Like the only ATM was, is if you went to like the public, for us in South Florida, is if you went to Publix, was the only place that had an ATM, right? And it was a Presto ATM. So I think it's happening faster than any technology has advanced in the past. It's just not as fast as we want it to happen, right?
I got a video pulled up here. I just saw this from Tony Bravado. Just was partnered up and launched the first crypto vending machine in Miami. And I think to your point, whether it's a vending machine or point of sale, I do think this just becomes normal, that at some point you can just pay however you want. I do think personally that like the tap to pay stuff or a card is more convenient than having to like this flow here where you got to scan the QR code, then presumably it links to your wallet on your phone where you authorize. But again, this is like the first inning on this stuff. And yeah, I am old enough to remember when ATMs did not exist. Like you actually had to go to a bank during banker's hours to get your money. Like that sounds.
You had to fill out a withdrawal slip.
Think about that for a second. There was a time in our lifetimes where the only time you could access your money was between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if you had a holiday on a Monday, a banking holiday on a Monday, and you needed some money on Friday night, you weren't getting your money. Like you weren't getting your money until
you'd have to write a check, go to like a check cashing store, and they'd charge you a fee, and they would cash your check for you. Or you would write a check and you'd float that check until like your money cleared at the bank or something like that.
Coffee with Boomers is our new segment here in this morning. I do have to show one other. I just show one of the clips. This is maybe my favorite thing this morning, as I'm complimenting Joey for being grown up. Steve coming in with the correction from the chat. Probably important to note, Joey, that you were taking him out of context. His comment on NFTs was to be used as brand anchors, tickets, Pokemon cards, Jeep ownerships, etc. Joey, do you have a response?
Like I said, I didn't remember exactly what the comment was, but it was something around community and blockchains, and then I pivoted to blockchains like the internet conversation. So I apologize for misquoting Steve. It'll never happen again.
Cap, I wanna jump back to like what you were saying about gaming and like, okay, so we've identified like maybe some problems. We've identified what some people are building. But I'm always thinking now, okay, how can we do better? How can I build something? Like, what can I build, or what can we build? And like the other, like gaming is actually to me a really cool interface. You were saying, like, does gaming actually make an impact? I think, and I was just sitting there, I never thought about it, but as you were talking, I was just sitting there thinking about, you know, I've recently started playing Halo again, and Halo's always been since I was a kid, that was my game. I played MLG, I traveled, tournaments, the whole deal. And Halo Infinite's a really good game. It brings back a bit of the nostalgia, a little bit of the future, and every once in a while I get the bug and I play an hour, 30 minutes a day. So anyway, I've been playing Halo again the last week or two. And I think about how frictionless it is, right? If I want to play, pop open the Xbox, do a little update, jump in. I don't have to pay. I don't have to buy anything. I just play. And when I'm done playing, I'm done. And I think there's obviously a lot of other games that people are playing. I watched my nieces. I've never seen Roblox up until a few months ago. My nieces were here visiting. They're like 8 and 10, 8 and 12, something like that. And they were playing Roblox, and they were like, "Come on, play with us, play with us." So I sat there for a few hours and, played, and they were teaching me how to chop the trees and, I don't know, kill these wolves or whatever. I don't know what we were doing, but it was pretty funny. And I know a lot of people are obsessed with the other one, Fortnite. Like, I've never played Fortnite, but I know people of all ages that still play. So point being is, like, gaming is a worldwide universal language. But if somebody were to, and this is just probably us doing a good job, if we are going to have random people downloading the other side that have no idea about the NFTs, they just see all these characters, and to them it's just IP, whether they realize it or not. It's just a new set of characters. And then they come into the other side. If it's a great experience and they're not being like, hit by door knockers, like, hey, buy an ape, buy this, buy quirky, buy whatever, right? I think that it actually could be like, it could be effective, but how we introduce the collectible NFT part of it to those people is really important. And I think that, my second thought was, so like part A, we need not to scare people away with overshilling. Number two, I think that the reset and kind of this latest correction of floor prices is a lot better for the space than probably most people think. Obviously, it sucks. Like, bags are down, people are upset. I get it. Me too. Trust me. But at the end of the day, like, the idea of somebody jumping and their first big play being a 6-figure NFT didn't really ever make sense. I think, if somebody's coming in and they want to buy a skin or a character or an avatar or whatever, or a digital identity, a few grand
So I have a question.
seems to make a lot more sense.
I agree. I 100% agree. On the gaming side, 10, 100, 6-figure assets, 5-figure, 6-figure assets, it's probably, non-starter for most. Legitimate question. We see Joan on the stage as well. I'd like to ask this question of all of you. Maybe we'll start with Jonah, get his take, and then feel free to take it wherever you'd like. And then I do remember this question, though, because I would like to get Poppy, Joey, and Girl on the Verse, your thoughts as well. I think part of this discussion we're talking about, and I do promise for anyone who joined, I'm not here to FUD abstract. It's just matter of fact. Luca did allude or straight up say that the TG would be delayed. We will talk about that in a second. I think this kind of all will dovetail together. Because my question is, if we're talking about onboarding, not more people using crypto, not more people using things on chain, whether it's BZ Claw Machine or payments or fill in the blank, but actual people who become active participants in crypto, whether they're building, They're creating content, they're consuming content, they're here day and I think a lot of us here, we liken that to NFT communities, meme coin communities.
Captain, they're not going to.
So my question, Jonah, is does no one ever come? Or if they do,
No, they don't.
Would they come just for the fun because it's fun gaming and I want to be deeper in this community? Or is the only way we see a wave of like a class of 2025 or a class of 2026 is if there's an opportunity to make those 100Xs? Is it this simple that
if it's for other side, no one's going to come for any of those reasons you mentioned?
I'm not forget other side. I'm talking just general, larger crypto Twitter participant, crypto participant at large. Is the only way we get a new cohort of the class of 2026 is if there's an opportunity for them to make 100Xs. Is there any other path towards an actual wave of onboarding new retail participants?
Probably not. I like Wintermute put out a report that I think everyone internally knows the truth on, right? Like everyone's kind of known this, is that you're not getting new liquidity into this industry as people buying and selling each other. Also, most normie people are broke. When you say you want retail, what you actually want are these investment funds because they control most of the money that happens in the ecosystem, right? Like when you get a 401k and you're getting shares in a company or you're getting payouts for, most people don't work this way anymore, but back in the old days, the company would do the investing for you. You would put part of your salary into a company managed fund that'd be managed by some other office, right? By some investment group. And then you'd hope that you get X amount of money because no one wants to do the work of actually choosing investments unless they see it as a game. And the game, when you're doing it as a retail investor, is to make as much money as possible and then disappear. Because there's no community around that. The community is everyone who's together trying to make money, and whoever gets out first is a winner. And you go, oh man, what did that guy do to get out? No, I think people, the best way to survive is to operate under the assumption that no one's coming.
Unfortunately, it's kind of where I'm coming to this realization as well. As I don't know as if we people will come. There'll be onesie twosies. Mesh, by the way, I thought OG. Mesh is here. I feel like every day in the chat, says hello. I truly thought Mesh was an OG. He joined a year ago. So we do have.
They're also not coming for your NFTs.
Also agreed. I don't care about that. I'm not talking I'm not asking for my bags. And I also because I also say I don't need more communities. I don't want to sound like an asshole and say I don't need more friends. I would like more friends, but more so I would just like more active participants, not to buy my bags, but to experience and share the passion that I have about this space and the people I've met here. It is something special. I've been around. Look at my facial hair. I'm old. I have a lot of experiences in my life, and what we have here.
But what made that special? Was it the money you made or friends? Because I can make friends in Roblox. I can make friends on Twitch.
Okay.
I can make friends anywhere. I don't need to make friends here.
So I've never done that. I don't. Maybe it is a easier place for Gen X to make friends than it is on Roblox or Twitch.
Correct. Yeah, you nailed it. Twitter is a place for.
And you know what? Here, I actually have another Steve. You may have to take a lap. I'm trying to get you up here, but there you go. And Steve always gets the honorary co-host, even if he's on a flight or in the air. I know your time crunch. We'll go to you right next. But I say I've never made friends before. This is my true actual before crypto. I was deep in I still play DFS, but I was in that community. I consumed a lot of content. I was in some very loose Discords or group chats. I never made any friends. I even played for a while. I was playing OOTP during the pandemic. It's just a simulation baseball game. It's super nerdy. But I would play money leagues, and there would be a Slack or a Discord. And I knew these people. Not one ever became a friend. Not one was anyone I ever met in real life or anyone I would ever consider. But I interacted with these people on a daily basis. They were never friends. So I do have, even though I say I'm not a gamer, I'm kind of adjacent to that world. I've played simulation games and I've connected with hundreds of people. I've played fantasy sports for 2 decades, connected with hundreds of people. I've not made a single new friend in those worlds. And where compared to crypto, I no joke, I've made hundreds of new friends. That is unique. That is special. And I don't know exactly how to explain it or the why. But Steve, you flew up here. Great to see you. Always a pleasure, sir. GM.
Jim. Yeah, sorry, I only have a few minutes, but I maybe I heard it wrong, but I heard just to correct on the point of like the industry not growing or people aren't coming here. I mean, I think we need to get more people into sort of the community-based world, but like the industry is not only growing, from the financial aspect and whatnot, but like, the actually monthly active users of crypto is up, relatively significantly in the past year, 2 years, 3 years. Like A16Z dropped a report on that recently. So crypto users are up. It's just a matter of actually providing products they care about, whether those are financial or otherwise. And the other thing I'll toss out there, and this is just like a random tactical idea, which may or may not work, but I think the one thing that other side has that they probably haven't implemented yet, which they've hinted at, which I think is very interesting, is the concept of sort of those in-game rewards of, they talked about, you can do scavenger hunts and you could literally have an ape in there. And then when you get there, you collect it, it's automatically transferred to your wallet, or, ape coins in there or other cryptocurrency. And I think that's something that, traditional sort of, games. Now, again, the game has to be fun. They have to have scale. They have to have users. But it is one unique thing that if you set up the wallets, as Joey was talking about earlier, well, he was brutally misquoting me. I love you, Joey. I'm kidding. But like as they come on and they scale like to use, like I think that is one thing that is very interesting. And sure, like other games could do that, where you could pick up V-Bucks or Roblox bucks, and they have other in-game currencies that you earn within the economies in those, which I think people care more about than they do about the crypto use in general. But I do think for a lot of people, other side or those types of metaverses have the advantage of, they talked about, you run around and you hit like a streak of ape coins, and those are actual ape coins, and those actually go to your wallet. That part could be interesting and I don't know how you activate it. I'm not a game designer. The game itself has to be fun and good and have users, and that probably requires some payment to some influencers of gaming who are going to use it because streaming's so big. But my point being, like, I think there is that one tiny, like, to me, whenever I'm trying to sell a product, my question is like, what is the unique selling point of that product that puts it above anything else? And if not, what is the thing that we sell that then we can put the proper wrapper on to make sure that it sells well over our competitors, even if it's a similar product? And to me, that is a unique selling point that doesn't exist. Does it mean that people are going to come here and scale and use it? I don't know. I'm not saying that is going to work. But if I'm them, I'm probably not just leaning into the identity, but that unique ownership and ability to actually potentially transfer crypto in a game without calling it crypto, but like, hey, you just made money just by running over this coin, or having scavenger hunts or events or treasure hunts. I think that's one unique selling point that there is less friction to than a traditional. Now, does that work? Does that not? I don't know, but that's where my mind goes with things like other side. If I'm trying to think of like how to sell a product beyond our corner of the internet, product has to be good, but yeah. And I also heard, like I said, I heard like maybe I heard it wrong about like crypto not growing. Crypto is growing.
Growing,
so, I'll toss it.
Growing, yes. But the question, I think, like, and maybe it's just lost. I do think it's important though. The differentiating a crypto user, someone that creates a Coinbase account or creates a decentralized wallet. The differentiate a user, someone who's using it to transact, versus an active participant. And I don't know how to define active participant, but this, like, people here, right? I think there's a difference between someone who's going to tune into a crypto space or host a crypto space or join crypto Twitter versus someone who's just going to start using crypto. And I think the question is, like, do we ever get that wave unless there's a financial opportunity, unless there's that 100x type environment where people can come in and
it will not happen.
Yeah, I agree. It's, well, I don't know. I wouldn't say it will not happen. I think it's like definitive, but I agree wholeheartedly that
98% chance will not happen.
There you go. That a boy, Jonah. I was going to say, like, I would agree with the assessment that it is. I've said, by the way, like, I haven't changed on this much since probably 2022, 2023 timeframe. I think 2021, we all thought that sense of identity and everything was going to move forward. I think for this world and what we're talking about now, my gut inclination is that what I've been saying for probably 2-3 years now, which is we are Comic-Con nerds, which is not, I mean, we're not like nearly as big as the comic book industry. I'm not saying that with what that is, but we are Comic-Con nerds who LARP as zoo animals on the internet, and we, go and meet up in person, and there's events and there is money there and there's opportunities there, but we are a niche subsect where people who are this deep in sort of the NFT collectible world. Like, I do think NFTs as collectibles can exist in spots. Doesn't mean this is going to happen. I mean, look, you could watch Gary Vee on, a stream this week talking now that the regulations are a little bit lighter about, like NFTs as collectibles and pulling them back. Like baseball cards suck right now. NFTs suck. Like, he's like, I don't think that they're dead. He's like, I think that, some of them will be valuable. Other ones are going to be trash, which I totally think is fair depending on the work the team does. I think to grow this space, it's going to be incremental, and we are a group of, again, like Comic-Con. Like, my kids are going to go to a Comic-Con, which, by the way, greatest honor ever. My daughter asked me as the parent to go with them and told me asked me if I would dress up in the theme of their costume, to which I said abso-fucking-lutely yes. But the idea that group of people, my kids going and dressing as whatever they're going to dress as to go to Comic-Con, Demon Slayer, whatever. Much bigger properties, much bigger world. I'm not saying that, but we are the niche where a lot of people in the outside world look at that and say, wow, those people are crazy. And so I think we are a niche within a niche within a niche, but I think that
it's grown a lot though. And I think the biggest problem that I keep seeing with projects is they forget about their community and, the people who really care about the product that use the product. They need to start on the other end of the spectrum, not with the, Cato Coles and all that stuff. And, that's something I've seen that's gone very wrong for a lot of people. Like SNX just did their $1 million coal competition. And me and my brother just shorted that and made 2.4 million. It's straight down. They just been swapping out through market makers. But people forget what it means to have a community that is engaged, that actually uses the product. There's so much trying to get out there to other people, and what they really need is their core community bringing the product out to the other people. That's just the way I look at it.
You're preaching to the choir on that, and I'll jump down and kind of hand it back to the co-host in a second here. But I actually 1,000% agree with that, and actually have been pretty adamant since 2021 that when you look at, I'll use the Board Ape Yacht Club as an example, the one that I'm very I've sort of been in since the beginning. They have this group of very high net worth individuals, and also low net worth individuals who are willing to spend money, who got very rich because of crypto or made money because of crypto. And you could have gone to, offer third-party utilities and gone to places, like airlines and, Marriott and all these other people and said, hey, get a deal because, give them a credit card deal to get them in. And focusing on that core community, there's a reason why a Board Ape Yacht Club red hats that they sold in limited numbers were selling for tens of thousands of dollars, and why merchandise was selling for so much. And I think you're exactly correct on that, where when you double down on a community, you have a group of people who are going to line up to buy the thing that you are selling because they're so excited to have that sense of identity and brag. They're going to wear it around, when they travel, when they go places, everywhere they go. I ran into a guy in Disney World in 2022, and we were wearing the same Board Ape Yacht Club sort of t-shirt. And, we took a picture together. It's those moments that I think probably could have leveled up the brand, but I think everybody chased a lot of metas. A lot of people took a lot of funding. And I think a lot of those things took them down a path where it's like, okay, we need to launch this. We need to chase this meta. Whereas you could have probably just doubled down on the club aspect. But, I know, Cap, we've talked about that ad infinitum, where it's like we could have seen that success in that way. And I think somebody still could harness that in the crypto world. I don't think it's impossible, but I think a lot of product chasing and meta chasing has, everybody's like, we got to drop ordinals when ordinals dropped. And I don't think ordinals are bad. I think it's a good storage of art, but does it make, again, I'm not funning, but does it make sense for Board Ape Yacht Club to do a raise on this?
I think ordinals suck.
Well, I don't think they suck. I think they're potentially historical.
Nah, they suck ass.
No,
I'll give you my pitch
digital
on
art.
ordinals. They make sense for people. There's a lot of Bitcoin maxis that are not going off of Bitcoin. So there's a lot of money there. Not a lot of money to be at. it's
in digital art as a whole.
When are these old ancient Bitcoin whales going to buy these ordinals? I've been hearing this for 2 years.
But I think you're looking at it all wrong.
Well, I'll tell you about a friend of mine. I'll give you an example. I had his friend, and he made what was called Lasaghettis. And for a long time on Ethereum, they were worth $1. And Lasaghettis, that was the dev of Bitcoin Puppets and Opium. So he built a true wholesome community, and it's still just a wholesome community. It's not trying to flex money or anything. And that's kind of what
Bitcoin Puppets were pumped by the main cabal. You gave a terrible example. That was the most insider cabal, the ordinal project, and all of Bitcoin. Everyone
But
I
knows
don't
that.
think so at all. I have no idea what you're
I
saying
think
there.
it's two separate conversations though. Like what I'm saying is a little bit different in the sense that I think that digital art as a medium has existed for a long time, and digital art is on the blockchain is going to be something that you'll continue to see featured in more and more art galleries, more and more traveling galleries, and more opportunity. That doesn't mean every ordinal is going to be amazing, but I think ordinals as a meta aren't trash. I think the idea of like inscribing something on Bitcoin is much more poetic than having something point to IPFS. So I think that there's probably something there. Maybe not now, but in the future.
Can't you edit those inscriptions just like in IPFS?
I'm not like I don't know. I'm not technical enough on that. My point it's sort of like irrelevant to the point of the idea of digital blockchain based art being a thing that will continue. We are seeing in art galleries as it is even now, and I think we'll see in the future.
Yeah, but that's because of like if visualized value put it on Tezos, I would still want to see visualized value, but who gives a shit if it's on Bitcoin?
Well, art galleries do like that. That's the difference. Is like art galleries care about the artist, they care about the provenance, they care about the story. Why one thing is sort of different than the other, and so yeah, like it's like I don't think it's ordinals specifically. I think digital art as a whole, on-chain art, is a meta that will eventually be sort of a different subsect, right? But like I like, and that's why I say like I think ordinals have a chance of being a leader in that potentially, but I don't think it's a complete trash, unnecessary piece like anything else. Like that's where it's like not being overly dismissive on that end. It's more so I believe the idea of seeing digital art in galleries that is featured on the blockchain is going to be a thing that we'll continue to see grow. We already are seeing grow. So that's where I think but to get back to the point, to kind of put the train back on the tracks, it's like
I like what you're saying. There's two different aspects though. For me, it's like when I join an NFT community, it's joining a network of people I can learn from and trade with and code with. So for me, that's where the value is. But there's also another people, and it's like they see it more as like a status symbol. And I mean, to an extent it is, but there's two different sides to it always.
So what's interesting when you say that is baby boomers and Gen X and millennials think like that. Gen Z and let's call it the orangey crowd don't think about that with NFTs at all. They see them as an inefficient way of making money, and they don't even resonate with it. And half of them have made PFPs that aren't even NFTs, and they all made millions of dollars pumping and dumping meme coins. Like Gen Z and Gen Alpha don't think about this at all.
That's actually not, I would say that is wholly untrue as somebody who's raising Gen Alpha kids. That
I think that your kids are the exception, not the norm. If you look at orangey statistics.
That's actually not, I would say that is wholly like a incorrect statement, not just based on my kids, but based on everybody at their school. Like they find a strong sense of identity in their digital world. So like I would say that saying that,
But not in crypto, but like on Roblox.
I actually have a question, Steve, for you. How long have you been into crypto? I feel like a lot of the times the way you talk is very much like an outsider at times. You look at the perspective. Well, it may be the way that you're writing. It's the perspective that other people looking in, and I'm usually inside looking out.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I got in 2016, but I really dove in deep in the 2021 era, and but I'm also looking at it from the perspective of I've worked at very large organizations and led disciplines at very large organizations, and I also look at it at the perspective of
other people. Yeah, I that's 100% fair. You are looking. I forget that I'm so inside looking out, and other people just think I'm weird as fuck. You know what I mean?
I mean,
you get lost in this world.
To give perspective on the two things, and then I really promise I'll hop down and hand it back, Cap. I'm sorry to hijack everything, but all good. The concept is number one, like I look at it from that perspective. Number two, I look at it as a perspective of my kids and how they approach things, and knowing that when my kids have an update in Roblox and lose the digital item, they get pissed off, and that doesn't happen the same way with NFTs, and that or that digital ownership can sort of hold through. And understanding how them and their friends and kids in their school, they're not friends, operate in the digital world. Like I do think there is a future there, and they do look at it that way. And the last thing I'll kind of put on is like to give you the example of perspective. Like I bring an outside perspective because those are the people I talk to a lot. Like dumb, like gonna sound like a flex, but it's just a fact. Like last week, I was speaking at Harvard Law School about NFTs. And I was talking to a group of students about first, second, and third year law students about how these things integrate, because they need to figure out how to litigate them, how they're all going to work, what the applications are. And so when I bring a perspective on stuff like this, I'm trying to be less insular. I'm trying to be less sort of polarizing and more so, look, like my opinion changes regularly because I'm talking to the people who are outside on a relative, like 3 weeks ago, I spoke at UMass Amherst. Like, I've spoken at large companies about this, and getting those perceptions and how they're interacting and thinking about it is super important to me so that we don't become too insular and drink our own Kool-Aid, but at the same time, understand how these things are applied. I'm not the most bullish person on PFP NFTs. I'm more so, bullish on the meta as a whole. And so when I bring that up, like, I don't think that, Gen Z and Gen Alpha are going to just shun NFTs as a whole. I don't think they're going to think of them as NFTs. I think it's just a matter of them having blockchain-based identity is probably going to be a thing they're going to do because they already have digital identity that is hyper important to all of them. So I don't know. I'll kind of leave it at that and probably drop down.
Always good to hear your voice. Appreciate you. Hope travels are going well. And yeah, nothing like getting a Steve cameo back for a good debate and being able to disagree without being disagreeable. Trad TFN, looks like you fell off. We'll get you back up here. We're going to bring it back on point here. We'll go to, I'll wait till it connects so you can hear me. We'll just use hands just so we can get through everyone. I do have a heart out today. It can't run long due to a prior commitment, but.
Pilates or yoga?
Actually, look, yeah, I got to tour a few homes. So no fun business today, but actually, I mean, it could be fun, I guess. But real quick, I wanted to, this conversation inspired. I want to talk about this. We talk about, are we early? Are we late? Where are we at? I can't trade. Always dropping some stuff in the chat. Talked about where this tweet or this thread from Drew Austin recently. He says, you may read this negatively. This post is the most encouraging post I've read all year. Left wondering, are we early or are we screwed? Going to bet on early and get back to work. He does go on to talk about S-curve adoption cycles, and we're certainly, as far as tech goes, this does make sense. But this isn't new. This has happened throughout history. Like one of maybe the best examples is the refrigerator. The in-home refrigerator was invented in 1911. 1911, and this is again something that talk about utility in mainstream and something that you couldn't imagine living in today's world without a refrigerator. They were invented. The home refrigerator was invented in 1911. 30 years later, they were only in like 40% of the homes. It took until the 1955 for 80% of the homes to have a refrigerator. Think about that. 40 years, and it was still 20% of the country didn't have a refrigerator in their home. So it's like sometimes adoption just takes a while, even when those of us that have been here for whether you came in 2017 or 2012 or 2021, seems like, oh, we're here. We're impossible to be early anymore. This tech is changing so fast. We really have went through several different phases of adoption. And Drew's thread here, I think I pinned this up top. If not, I'll go grab it in a second. He basically broke down his couple days at at Blockchain Week in New York City, and said sentiment was a mix of frustration and disappointment. People can't see a single product they're proud of. Institutions are touching DeFi, too risky and vulnerable. Gaming is dead before its arrival. Not sure prediction markets need crypto. Metaverse is a fantasy. NFTs are worthless. NFT lending markets could lead to demise of NFTs. MEX is screwed. Binance is a disaster zone. DATs are a ticking time bomb. Crypto capital markets is TradFi and new close. We used to invest in project. Now we buy charts with leverage. VC funds don't have enough quality projects to deploy into. Town is lacking quality ideas to work on. Too much intro. Users don't need interoperability. Just make it work. If you build it, they aren't coming. So we better figure out distribution. Depend, see gaming above. New York is screwed in reflection of how messy society is. Left wondering, are we screwed early? Gonna bet we're early and get back to work. I too think we're early. I also am not naive to think that some of this stuff just is never coming back. Like I really don't think we're going to have another NFT PFP mania. Do I think NFTs are dead? No, not at all. Like they're going to continue to proliferate. It's great tech. That can be programmed against. I just don't think that the PFP mania in that season, I don't think that exists. I do still think there's an opportunity to convert crypto users, those who might buy their first crypto in their retirement account, whether it's an ETF or otherwise, those who might they get a crypto card for Venmo, or they actually get a they download a Rabby wallet and you convert these users to active participants. I do think there is a path for that. I do think it can and will happen. The more I think about it, I don't know if it happens in mass unless there is another hyper financialized bubble. Somebody may hate to hear that. It's just, unless there's an opportunity to come in and we're buying Top Shot packs for $5, we can immediately flip for 500. I'm not saying that's healthy. I'm not saying that's good, but it brings attention. And I became a Top Shot user, very quickly became aware that I was a crypto user, and that led me to a crypto participant. I could also, even back then, I could buy Top Shot with my credit card, but there was something there that it sent me down a rabbit hole that I've not come out of 5 years later. That's, I think, what I'm looking for is for the people who aren't here, the people who haven't experienced this yet, what might their rabbit hole be? Let's go, Joey, and then we'll go back to Jonah, and I see already RFDZ wants to come up as well. Joey, go ahead.
My original hand raise was on the gaming conversation, so I don't know if you want to go back there or not, Cap.
Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've said this many times, and I'm glad Jonah's here, so maybe he can comment on it. I still don't believe in on-chain gaming. I believe in on-chain asset ownership with gaming. I don't think we need to build games on-chain. Do I think we should own the assets connected to the game on-chain? Yes. So, for example, if I'm playing Warzone or Fortnite and I achieve some, the diamond-plated guns or the gold guns are super difficult for people to unlock. And if I unlock that skin, I should be able to use it in-game, but then the ownership of it is on-chain, so then I can go sell it. I just don't see a world where where every action I take is a transaction on chain for a game. And now I know that's not how they're all going to be built eventually. I just still don't see the point. And maybe I'm off here, but I do believe in asset ownership on chain for gaming. I just don't believe in games being on chain.
So asset ownership is basically worthless, and it's been proven this entire year that it does actually nothing. So this is what I was going to talk to Steve about. So I know I'm going to be saying things on this stage that people don't like to hear in the audience. I already got a couple DMs of people upset with me, but you're going to have to hear, whether you believe it's true or not, you have to hear it from the perspective of someone who's built games, invested in games, has built several companies. I have a background in this, okay? I understand enough of this to know what's going on.
But Jonah, if you were saying something to upset at least one person in the audience, I'd wonder if you were
I don't think Jonah realizes.
Right.
I don't think Jonah realizes how many
man,
people
I'm actually very curious about your perspective, and I hope I didn't come off wrong initially.
Oh no, it wasn't you. No, it wasn't you. It was other people randomly.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, for example, initially.
Oh, I'm pretty.
Yeah, no, but I'm very.
We don't know each other, but I'm pretty
interesting.
tough to crack. Yeah, I'm not upset at all.
Interesting to get to hear everyone's perspectives.
Yeah, so I'll give you a couple of things. One, I built a game on Abstract. It's done over $500,000 in revenue. It still exists today. It's called Frankie Go. So I know enough about how that game is built to know what parts that are on chain that actually make sense. So I'll tell you the bad part about it, because almost all of it's on chain. Actually, it's an on chain game. There are two glaring issues with it. One actually is a psychological one, which is called MS response time. So because we're on EVM, it's inherently slower than Solana, right? You can make of that what you will, but Solana is faster. It's just, these are facts, okay? Mega ETH may change that, Monad may change that, but until then, Solana is the fastest by far. And so when you build a game on Abstract, for example, that's on chain, and they just started doing 200 MS, which was a lot slower before, you have what's called low retention response time, okay? So I'll give you an example. So if we have a game that's on chain, and the reason we have it on chain is actually for provable RNG, we use Pirate Nation Stack. It's called VRNG. It actually is very useful, although there are other non-chain solutions that may work as well, but this was out of the box. We use RNG that's provable on chain for every run because we want to prove that we're not scamming people out of tokens, which creates trust in the game, which leads to more players. So that is a case where on-chain makes a lot of sense. But where it doesn't make sense is that for every transaction to be initiated, there is a 2 to 5 second delay on every match played, which is actually really bad when you're building games because people have ADD. And so a 2 to 5 second pause time on every game that starts is a potential leak in a customer that could be using and buying things in our game. So that's the detail on the issues with on-chain games. I could talk about in rebuttal to Steve with some stuff, but I don't want to derail, but I could say some things that would make people depressed, but I probably won't.
I mean, dude, like, I think it's been an interesting conversation this morning. I was not thinking we'd get into the on-chain refrigerator conversation, but yeah, if you got to take, feel free to fire it. Don't hold back.
Yeah, on-chain ownership is practically worthless, at least in crypto games. It's worthwhile in like insurance, credit score. It's worth ownership is worth a lot in the DeFi world. It is worth nothing in the gaming and metaverse world. Okay, it has no material value.
How could you say that when we see? How could you say that when
If you've been here for 4 or
years,
5 years, you've seen Decentraland, you've seen Sandbox,
Yeah,
you've
but
seen
that's
Star
different.
Atlas.
Yeah, hold on.
But
It's
that's different.
fucking
That's
insane.
but that's different. Land ownership. Sorry, go ahead, Kat.
I was just say, let him finish your thoughts one at a time.
I knew it would upset people, but I can explain why.
Yeah, but okay, wait, hold on.
So Jonah
So
finish, and
if
then
we
we'll
look
get
at games that have been around for like CS:GO, right? Like games that have existed since before blockchain, where like basically black marketplaces have existed.
Hold on. You do realize just because I buy and sell assets in CSGO, I know a lot about that market. You do know I can buy and sell those assets on chain already, right?
But that's my point, right? Previously you couldn't. Previously you'd have to join a Discord.
Okay, so you're about to walk into my MacGuffin. You're literally about to hit a claymore. So here's what I'm going to tell you. How has on-chain ownership changed anything regarding Steam's policies around creating what's called trade-ups that had shaved the market by 5 billion 2 weeks ago?
Well, so wait, ask that question again. I apologize.
If ownership is about accountability and deciding what the value of your assets are, and you can already trade CS skins on chain, and you don't have access to the root code of the game, meaning you have no access to the state of the game and duplicate it because it's against terms of service, right? Then why does ownership matter if the developers can decide to dilute the market with new assets by doing trade up? What is the value?
But if it's built, okay, so I hear what you're saying, but what I'm saying is if the game is built, not a previously existing game that's adopting, but if a game is built, to your point, transparently, where the assets are on chain, where that game can charge, for example, royalties, where that game can do, to Steve's point, special.
Roblox already does this, but go on.
Correct. But again, but there's a limited marketplace with Roblox, right?
No, it's not. No.
How is it not?
They 2 years ago they released an alpha called Limiteds with a TDS at the end, and these are tradable assets with royalties, and you own them. In fact, one of the guys here who used to do stuff in the Yuga Labs community, who also did all the soundtracks for Rocket League, is one of the biggest collectors and traders in that eco, and he left crypto to go do that full time.
Okay, so then why build any game on chain then? What's the point?
So, and I just told you the only reason to do it on chain was for provable RNG if you're doing gambling games.
So why build Frankie Go on Abstract?
Well, I just explained it. That's why I'm a little confused.
So Frankie Go is a gambling game?
It's a social casino game, yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I didn't associate it as a social casino game.
Have you played the game?
Yeah.
Okay, so you are buying tickets to spin, and there is RNG to determine what tokens you may get and you can change those odds based on the assets you hold. That's a social casino game.
Okay, that makes sense. So you're saying in your opinion, the future of online gaming only makes sense for gambling, casino, games of chance,
Where
etc.
there's real money, yeah. Otherwise, waste of time. Correct.
Yeah, that's a fair take. I don't disagree with that.
I'd like maybe a counter. I'm not putting him on the spot, but at Simple Farm, I saw you flew up. Feel free to give us your perspective, whether it's different or you agree.
GM, hey, GM, by the way, guys.
Appreciate you. Of
course. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think, Jonah, you're a partner at Kalshi, right? Kalshi is an off-chain predictions market.
So define, I am a paid influencer and I predict on that market as well as poly market, but I would like to hear where you go with this. Yes.
Okay, I'm just reading your bio. Yeah, so I just think it's an interesting perspective. Prediction markets are a form of a game of chance that's not based on a random number generator that exists on chain. And the question is the Kalshi model or the poly market model being fully on chain better?
Let me make it clear, because I have my own startup, so I have my own building philosophy. I don't speak for Kalshi, but let me say this, is that Kalshi is already pseudo permissionless if people understand how the liquidity layer works, which is they integrate it into Jupe, Robinhood. I know they're doing it with 3 or 4 others. Their entire data set is integrated through Pith. So I've heard this conversation where people go, oh, but Jonah, you're biased because you're Kalshi. Like, people don't actually realize Kalshi is, in many ways, quite decentralized.
Yeah, I wasn't like trying to break your whatever. Like, I wasn't trying to straw man you or anything. Just wondering what you thought about that. But I think the way that you're looking at it is like kind of, I think, the opposite direction of what builders look at. So I think the reason that it's important for digital assets to have on-chain ownership when it comes to gaming is that it becomes an entry point, an on-ramp for us for retail. So if you look at, for example, recently Yuga Labs and Other Side did a Boximus mint, essentially a sale of a digital asset redeemable through a code that was done on Amazon. So that's a direct on-ramp to retail users. They essentially bought a metaverse asset with credit card off chain and then redeemed it with a code to become on-chain users incidentally, right, without even knowing it. Crypto, DeFi, everything.
Do you have any data on how many net new on-chain participants were generated through that sale? Because I don't have the data, but I'll make the assumption that 80 to 90% of those were already ape holders in some way.
Oh, no, I don't disagree. The point of it wasn't to onboard with a mint of 2,222 NFTs. It was a proof of concept. So,
right, but you said in the beginning of that statement that I'm not looking at it from the builder perspective. I've ran and developed several companies that generate revenue, and both of them are on chain. So I am speaking from the developer and builder perspective.
Okay, what I meant is specifically, and again, with the Amazon example, that's something that at scale you could potentially start looking at data and the numbers of new on-chain users. What I'm saying is, in crypto, we have a difficulty, right, in DeFi, and to a lesser extent in gaming, that we're trying to onboard new users, right? And we don't know how to do it. That's our most difficult bottleneck. What I'm saying
the problem is that you guys are trying too hard. Like, Gen Z and Gen Alpha know that you're trying too hard. Like, this is totally the wrong way of building products. Like, you don't build an asset and then expect people to come. What you do is you build hilarious or engaging or unique experiences that are so emotionally enveloping in, like, the mind of a young person that they want to buy the asset because it reminds them of that experience. Like, this is I think, and this is, by the way, I'm 30, so I'm now part of the Boomer Collective. But I know I have a sister, she's 18, okay? And I talk to all of her friends because they always show up around the house and they're always having fun and doing stuff. They're all popular. They're all getting millions of views on TikTok. I pretty much know how these kids think. Now, it's not all kids, but kids and young people do not grow up in a world where they understand ownership or even privacy. Everything is online. Everything is in front of a camera. Everything is through a group chat. And the first thing they think about is a unique experience with their friends. They don't think about owning the thing. Only after the unique experience has been achieved do they then want to own the thing. And most crypto companies have no understanding of this because one, either they're doing it on purpose and they're negligent because building an experience is harder, or two, they're building for other old people and don't understand the audience that they're trying to target.
Well, I think the average crypto audience is relatively still younger than the
No,
average.
no, they're definitely not. Absolutely not.
The reason crypto was created in the first place was for the exact point of what you're talking about, the VRNGs, because it becomes a transparent on-chain system, and that's supposed to replace our financial system so corrupt governments can't fund wars.
The young people
shit like
didn't
that.
build that. Young people didn't build that.
Right,
Young people
but-
didn't even think about that.
But the reason we're trying to onboard
Honestly,
people
it
to
is
crypto
kind
is
of like
because
a
it's a better
30s.
financial system.
Most people are in their 30s plus that do the crypto real shit, though.
Right, that's not
Like,
young people. Young
The
people
younger
are,
crowd are
yeah.
still kind of learning. They aren't like us. They don't know about this shit the way we do.
The main
As a
the main point is
44-year-old, I'm upset Jonah called himself a boomer at 30.
Yeah, I mean, no,
Wait,
we
wait,
are
wait,
old.
wait.
Like, if you're trying to attack, dude, young people are on a different level of like product experience that I every day I talk to my sister, not just because she's my sister and I love her, right? But I like you want to talk to young people all the time because they are far and ahead what any builder is thinking about, unless they're also young. You have to know what they want. And these people don't care about ownership. They don't even think about it. You know why? Because they've never even had the opportunity to own a house. So they don't even think about ownership as a concept.
I think you're just like overthinking this on a macro scale.
No, I'm really not.
The reason that there's difficulty in onboarding users and young people is because crypto right now is inherently
No, it's because the
difficult to use.
products suck ass.
No, it's because it's difficult.
They do.
to
Name a
get
good product.
into.
Name a good product. Name a good product.
Polymarket is a better product than FanDuel.
Yeah, it's mostly Web2 people who don't even think about the crypto, and they were like, prediction markets are not the best example because they are actually the example of what you should have done in the first, not you, but
It's
just the
very
industry should have done in the
PvP
first
here.
place.
It's very PvP.
I can give you a ton of examples. That all perps platforms that are built in a decentralized nature are massive sources of revenue and allows consumers and people to tap into that revenue through.
It's mostly other
liquidity.
funds that are doing it, not normally young people.
You're just straw manning everything I'm saying, but you're not listening. Listen, because this is important. Right now, we're inviting people to play basketball, and it takes 1 hour to explain how to use the basketball. It's because smart wallets are inherently difficult to use. It's not a simple onboarding process. That is the biggest bottleneck to crypto that you can believe. It's because we're old.
It's not.
Go ahead.
It's not.
It
It's
is.
not.
Good luck,
It is
sir.
because I mean, a lot of my friends.
Okay, like
I
know that people are going to be defensive because
they don't know how to
you
go
know,
cross chain. They don't know how to do anything, and it's
They
like,
don't
man,
really.
I
How come Orangey has like 1 million referrals? They're all Gen Z.
Orangey's
They
a
walk.
fucking gamer, dude. Like,
Oh my god, you
those
guys are
gamers.
so old.
I'm telling you, when I bring in, I'm 32
Okay,
years old.
you're
When I bring
right.
in people that are my age that
Hold up. I got an important question. We'll get y'all. I just unmuted everyone. We'll get y'all back. I just got to get it back together because we got 18 minutes. I got a heart out, and there's one other topic I got to hit on. So we are going to, for the rest of the show, we're going to go back to hands. I know we've gotten a little, it's been a free for all this morning. We are a hand show here to be respectful for everyone's time and make sure we get everyone in. Serious question though, Jonah, because you call yourself a boomer at 30. The people demand to know, are you texting in all lowercase?
I don't even know what that means. I just, what do you, I actually, you know what I do most of the time? I send voice notes via Telegram or through text because I don't feel like texting.
You're a voice noter. Okay. So if you do actually type out a text, do you text it in lowercase or do you let it capitalize the words that are intended to be capitalized?
No, I just text lowercase. So like, who cares?
Yeah. So it means you're not full boomer yet. If you're
not at all full boomer.
Yeah. If you're texting in lowercase, that is like when I'm talking to a younger woman, I specifically text in all lowercase because I know that's how it relates to them. If she's older than me, I got to use proper punctuation, proper grammar. I got to use capitalize when I'm supposed to. If you're texting in all lowercase, this is the true test. Like you're not a boomer yet. If you're go-to.
Well, let me just end with this, and then obviously we'll go to the hands. I want to be respectful of your show.
Hey, Captain, bring Eddie up too. He's a good people.
Yeah, please bring Eddie up because he'll agree with me. So
Eddie also
just go to any data point on Orangey's socials, and calling him a gamer is just so far behind like his development as a creator, like what's happening at the ground level. Like go to his Axiom referrals, go to his Potion referrals, look at the amount of users in his Discord, look at their age by demographic. Like if you, again, I ran an agency making well over several $1 million a year before I started this startup. I literally have, this is my job. This is what I do for a living. This guy,
Orangey, he does private jet videos where he talks about how he's able to be on the private jet because of trading.
yeah, like this is just like, you gotta do the research. I'm not even trying to be offensive. Just like, these are statements that are so not accurate to present day data.
Eddie, GM, welcome to the stage. I do have one more topic I promise we have to get
Hello.
to, but feel free to get in here. Take it whichever direction you'd like. And then Joey will go to you next. And then new topic.
I just wanted to say hi to Eddie. Hey, Eddie, it's been a while, buddy.
What's up? What's up?
I hope law school's going well for you.
It is for the most part. It's just a lot.
Eddie, are you texting in all lowercase?
I'm sorry?
You text in all lowercase, right?
50-50.
Oh, really? So you play you take my approach. It depends on who you're texting.
It depends on both who I'm texting and what I'm trying to say.
Fair. Okay. This is Eddie's smart. This is why he's going to graduate law school and pass the bar, because he understands you match and mirror people. Go ahead.
But yeah, I don't really have much to say. I just wanted to come up, and also that I wanted to say, if anything, I heard the perps thing. Developing a new thesis right now that we might see a massive pullback on hype, because I think perps are going to keep doing great, but I don't know about decentralized perps. At least
expand on that. Why?
Well, because the hype flywheel doesn't really work in a bear market. At least I don't know if it will, because it has fees. There are going to be platforms that don't charge fees. Like Lighter, for example, won't charge fees, at least up front. People will argue that they'd charge fees on the back end. There are still going to be centralized platforms that don't do so. Even if someone mimics the Hyperliquid model exactly, the fees there are probably going to trend to zero, probably, or at least closer and closer to zero. And right now, all that really exists is a social contract that they'll use the fees to buy hype. But if the fees buying hype are not outpacing the overall sell pressure, which in a bear, it will outpace the sell pressure will outpace the buy pressure, then people will say, okay, well, why aren't they using the money for things like growth? Why aren't they using money to expand the L1, which is the whole idea of what's one of the parts of the premium. And that's just it's a net negative flywheel. So right now people don't talk about that stuff, and especially because the Hyperliquid crowd is basically, if you try and stand up against them, they will destroy your business. But I wouldn't be shocked if that opinion set starts to show its head in the next 4 to 6 months.
So I'll be even more specific. I'm long hype. I've got not a ton, but I got a little bit of hype staked. I've got I use the platform. It's I should be trading perps elsewhere, because I feel like it's probably not the best. It's not the most positive EV in terms of any future airdrop or whatnot. I actually have been thinking, I've also shared on the show a few times, I'm very close to making Mega ETH my new home base, and I don't. It's pure just gut. I don't know. I don't have any data or any knowledge on a team to support it. I legitimately think a perp dex on Mega ETH is going to eat into Hyperliquid's volume quite significantly.
I don't know about that. I know Valhalla. I met Tiago, the founder of that. I'm sure it'll be fine. And I'm I'm just generally interested in a lot of stuff that is going to launch there. So I'm not going to disagree that Mega is a good play. And I probably am going to do something similar where I make it a good chunk of my personality. But beyond that, I don't know if I agree that the Mega ETH L1 will be the one that works. It's not. Lighter is looking pretty impressive right now, and they're in L2, of their own right. But it's, yeah. how do I explain this? I'm not gonna disagree. Sorry, my brain isn't working at 8 full capacity, so like my cadence is difficult, but working on it. But yeah, like this is just a thesis I'm kind of starting to think about, and I've heard from people much smarter than I that they have some pretty serious concerns about this as well. And I'm generally just kind of concerned about this concept that like Hyperliquid is set up forever, especially when it's like it is breaching some norms, right? Like it's doing things like it's a growth company that's spending on buybacks, right? That's one of the reasons why fee switches are questionable.
Is that the concern? It's just because the buybacks are a social contract. There's nothing.
Well, also because like that's what you'd expect of a mature company. Like you'd expect a mature company to be doing buybacks. Like that's what you want from Coca-Cola. That's not really what you're asking for from Anthropic or any of these other growth companies like Meta or whatever. You're hoping that they're spending like $1 is hopefully $10 of stock value because they've developed something that's, you know, growth wise. But if it's a mature company, that's not as much the concern. So I'm not so sure. That's one of the basic theses and why it's not usually promoted, at least in the traditional equities world, and why it might be a questionable thing here. And perps have existed for years, mostly centralized. One of the big things is fees, and like fees in crypto tend to almost always go to zero. So how do we rectify the whole hype thesis if fees do actually go to zero on a long enough time frame, i.e. 3 years? So
yeah, so I will agree. Simple Farm, I want to get your take on this. I have thought the buyback meta, whatever we're calling this, from Pump to Hyperliquid, anyone else doing it, I too thought it just seems premature. Like these are, I don't care how much money they've raised, like they're still startup companies. And it just seems like I struggle reconciling it in my brain while they're buying their own token stock, fill in the blank. They're investing in their own company while they're still in hyper growth mode. It goes against most traditional startups and, you know, most companies, even that have done the revenue or that the size and scope that Pump and Hyperliquid have achieved. Most of them are still in fundraising mode. They're not spending their liquid capital. So I too have had in my head, I've not been vocal about it because I don't, my brain isn't big enough to really fully understand the tokenomics here and everything they're doing. But it's been something I've struggled to reconcile. Simple Farmer, go ahead and take that wherever you'd like.
You know, it's an interesting. I think buybacks more than a meta are a buzzword, and it's a buzzword that drives speculative interest. And so the idea works better than it actually does in principle. But the reason it works is because the majority of users entering crypto are entering crypto to speculate on tokens, or, you know, some smaller percentage of people on NFTs. When you get into the idea of buybacks, like what Hyperliquid is doing, people are saying, oh, I'm going to front run these buybacks and I'm going to get in because I'm going to assume the price is going to go up in the future because the company is going to keep buying the token. And then, you know, of course, they lead themselves to believe that more users is going to lead to more revenue. That's going to lead to more buybacks. And so, yeah, I think you're right that it is premature, but what it really is the marketing play. And it's been proven to be an effective one. Token works also drive speculative interest indirectly with that buybacks idea because people assume that those crypto punks they have are going to be sold. They're going to use that to buy back the token. The token's going to go up. So people were speculating that the token would keep going up. And at one point, it was doing really, really well until people saw that, hey, if these NFT sales don't happen, the flywheel essentially ends.
Yeah, that's my read as well. It's more marketing and meme and momentum than anything else. It's part of their early marketing outlay. Is how I've basically reconciled it in my brain.
Definitely. Well, but there is one thing, Cap, and one thing is not a meta. One thing is not a meta, but it's a principle that exists in business and that is critical and important to everything that exists in the world that makes money, and that's revenue. Revenue is not a meta; it's something that has to exist, and all of revenue in crypto essentially comes from DeFi. 85% of revenue, because I had to do the numbers for ApeCo stuff yesterday. 95% of revenue comes from DeFi, and here are the splits. 50%, 45 to 50% comes from perps and futures. 25 to 30% comes from token swapping, that's spot dexes, and 10 to 15% comes from lending or borrowing platforms. So that means 95% of revenue generated in crypto is coming from DeFi. Specifically, of that, 80% of it is coming either from swapping tokens or leverage token swapping, which is essentially perps. These companies at least have revenue, and so they'll have something that they can do with their revenue, and whether that's buybacks or whatever else. I think they'll end up being more clever tokenomic strategies in the future. But at least they're trying, and that's why I am still bullish on Hyperliquid, because their fundamentals are based in good DeFi. So, but what happens during a bear market? Yeah, I don't think any of these tokens will perform well in a bear market. And with Hyperliquid, I think that their user base will significantly decrease after users find that there's no more airdrop incentives for farming points for trading perps there. I think people kind of are just trading perps wherever the iron is hot right now.
Yeah, no, I think I will say this. We've talked a lot about what's the next wave, what's the next thing that onboards participants, actual participants, not just users. I would have to still connect some dots or probably put some more conscious thought to this, but I do believe as we get closer to an always-on trading environment, as more stocks become tokenized and that starts making its way into TradFi, I do think we could see some more of those that are really on the financial side of things, really deep into finance. I think we absolutely could see a cohort of those individuals become active participants in crypto once more of this on-chain trading, much more traditional equities and this unlocking the financial markets to a true 24/7. I know theoretically we're there already, but it's just not really popped. It's not had its big moment yet, and I think that could be an unlock. 5 minutes left here. The topic, the title of the day, we haven't changed it because I thought we were going to go to it for the last 90 minutes. But I do want to hit on, and I think it does kind of tie into all the stuff we've talked about this morning, whether it be new participants, what we're using, the killer dApps. This was it is pinned up top. It's Steve shared the clip from a recent Luca interview, and essentially the TLDR is you can see we're just focused on making the best product possible, and we're not going to be focused on it. Just we're focused on winning. So I think winning is everything, and tokens are a byproduct of winning. Steve says in his excerpt here, a token is a product. In this case, the product needs to go part and parcel with a successful L2. I think this is a wise decision. I don't think they should be rushing to launch their abstract token. I don't know. I just don't know where abstract fits in the big scheme of things, whether we're talking new active participants or migrating users over there. I really do think they need their killer dApp. And forget like macro conditions or numbers going up or down or chopping. I just feel they had a lot of momentum. They had a lot of attention early on. It feels seemingly they've lost that. I think this news that TGE is getting delayed, we were initially thinking it might come around Art Basel. I think the news of the delay probably will drive a lot of people off abstract. I think we'll see a lot less people farming TGE over there. Now, if there is a mass exodus, could be an opportunity for those that are still building and participating on there to rack up some points or level up their allocation. I think it's wise. I think it's probably not just abstract that is uncertain about when and where they go to their next, whether it's a TGE or some major product launch. I just been feeling this way for a while, that abstract had lost kind of that momentum, and it is kind of refreshing to hear Luca basically, without saying that, come out and say, hey, we're not ready to launch token, and respect for the candor. Simple Farmer, any thoughts on that? Then Jonah, Eddie, or Chad, you want to get on as well, and if not, we'll wrap things up here.
Yeah, I mean, without commenting too much specifically on abstract, I think what's important to note here, and we've seen this with like dApps that essentially have incentives powered by grants, and we've seen this now with chains that have incentives powered by airdrops, is that with your application, with your chain, it doesn't really matter how many users you have. What matters is how sticky your product is long term. And so that user retention is the most critical, actually, statistic for all of these things. And that takes a lot of time, more time than most people are willing to wait in crypto. We talked earlier about the example of Polymarket. Polymarket took years before it took off properly. So I think that's just what's important. And as a space in general, when it comes to chains, I'm I care less and less about what chain a product is on and more about the quality of the product. I think moving forward, what DEXs like Uniswap and Camelot are doing is essentially creating this orbital liquidity network where liquidity is accessible from anywhere at any time. And as like the challenges with smart wallets are also abstracted away, all that's going to matter is how good the products are. So the best products will win. The chains that they're on will actually end up mattering less and less, which is going to be, I think, really interesting to watch in the future.
Yeah, agreed. The product's important, and the best chain in the world is going to be a dead chain if it doesn't have great products that people are going to use and use it not just to farm points or a token, but actually to use the product. Jonah, Eddie, Trad, really appreciate you joining the stage this morning. It was certainly some back and forth this morning, interesting conversation. Appreciate everyone being candid, sharing their thoughts, opinions, and doing so in a respectful manner to the others on the stage. So those to the new listeners or anyone connected with for the first time today, welcome. We do run this back every Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern time. The carousel's pinned up top all the way to the right. If you haven't yet done so, smash that reminder for tomorrow. And looking forward to another exciting week next week. We're going to go live, new streaming platform tomorrow. If you've those in the war room, those paying attention.
Wait, where are you going?
Zora.
Hell yeah, brother. Welcome.
Pretty stoked, actually. I need to put some more thought to it in terms of like what we're doing. I have no tokens.
Have you seen, I don't mean to interrupt because I know you want to go, but look at 11 a.m. and look at what they're doing with their strategy token. You could do that. Why not?
11 a.m. on Zora?
Yeah, they just started a new flywheel. I hate that word, but it's true, called 11 a.m. strategy. And basically every guest they have gives them some sort of tokens, and then they put them in a treasury, and then they have a multiple based like sell sheet where if it hits 5x, they sell X percent. If it hits 10x, they sell X percent. And then they do that, and then they reinvest it back into the token of 11 a.m.
Oh, I love it. So let me here's why I didn't launch today. I have everything set up. I got the invite. I didn't because I feel like it would be. Can I stream without creating the coin first, or I have to create a coin before I can?
No, you have to create a coin. There's no way around it.
So maybe I may not go live tomorrow. If not tomorrow, we'll go live Monday. I need to put some thought and do this the right way, and I would love to do more than just hit the.
Have you talked to the Zora team, because it's also like not anyone can do it. You have to be invited, and then they send you the code, and you have to do the whole thing.
Yeah, they got me all set up as in a group chat with the founder.
Okay, all right.
Team, but
got it.
They seem great. I've not done anything over there. I created an account a while ago, but I've not done anything, and yeah, excited to stream on a new platform, maybe pick up some new distribution, but ultimately would like I whether that's 11 a.m. and that strategy is the answer. I'd like to do something more than just stream, and when I stream, it creates a token, and I don't know. I think that I like this idea, this thought of creator coins. I just don't think anyone has fully baked it out yet. I think we're not even in the first inning, and cautiously optimistic that something could come together with this concept, I guess, of creator coins and streaming. Back to the abstract topic, I think they were on the right path with making streaming a focus of their chain. My thought is what's next, because it's not landed in terms of growing distribution or new streamers. So I like the portal. I like their approach, but curious to see what's next. That said, enjoyed the day today. Appreciate everyone who joined us, new, old, and new friends and old friends. The video up top from Luca is pinned up there if you missed it. We will be back tomorrow. And as my buddy Steve would say, we hope you all have a wonderful Thursday, everyone.
Thanks for tuning into Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, nothing we discussed today is financial advice. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Welcome to the future.